Gungnir is the John Wick of his story, maintaining his position as the most terrifying legendary assassin the world has ever known. But surprisingly, the same man has turned into an ordinary high schooler. Don't let that fool you though. He still has the same skills and absolutely dogs on a group of thugs like it's a regular Tuesday. Having destroyed his targets in the background, he welcomes his peaceful new life as a regular high school student. But to get here, let's go back to his backstory. This guy is the strongest assassin ever and was on his final mission to leave for good. Seizing his target, Chairman Akagi, he showcases godlike speed, reacting incredibly fast to bullets, and eliminating everyone in his path. Akagi knew that he wasn't getting out of this one alive and begged for mercy, when Hayate, who was also an assassin and Tuji's best friend, killed the guy for him. Their organization tasked them to kill Akagi, so naturally they shoot the chairman down and conclude their job. Shortly after the kill, Tuji glanced at Akagi's phone screen and saw a photo of him with his daughter. He no longer wanted to participate in a life of killing and officially retired. Tuji returns home to his beloved girlfriend Mirai, who is waiting to cook a nice meal for him. On his way back, Hayate is out here singing praises of Tuji's expertise and how amazing he is as the #1 assassin. Though everyone fears his name and reputation, Hayate thinks that it helps in their line of work. He already feels sad that his best friend is retiring for good, but our boy's done grinding his job and wants to cruise a normal life. All of it started happening ever since he met Mirai, his girlfriend. He wants to live a peaceful life with her and their dog John, allowing him a rare warmth that he couldn't normally experience before. Hayate thinks that it's going to be hard for an assassin, especially when all he knows is how to kill. Surprisingly, the ruthless assassin is also a lover boy who wants to propose to his girlfriend soon. Returning home, Tuji looks dapper and welcomes his new life of normalcy. He's nervous like a geek, preparing himself to meet his lover. The smell of blood puts him on edge and terror looms over him. He wants to start a new life with Mirai, but right as he dashes in, his hopes are reduced to ashes. Mirai is resting in a pool of blood alongside his dog. Defeated, he goes up to her, questioning what could have caused this to happen. Sensing Hayate just behind, he calls out his best friend, who praises Tuji for always knowing who's following him. Unfortunately, the organization doesn't want someone like him to live a retired life, especially when he refuses to help them achieve their goals. Hayate thinks that Mirai is a problem, which is why he killed her, allowing Tuji to become free. By the will of Odin, he kills Tuji right when he's already down, regretting the loss of the greatest assassin. In his final thoughts, Tuji reflects the harsh reality. A man like him could never achieve a happy ending and a normal life, and because of him, his lover suffered the consequences for the actions of a ruthless murderer who dared to dream too far. That's until he hears a bunch of voices murmuring in his unconscious state, helping him. Those voices seem unfamiliar, up until he finally reopens his eyes. But this time, he is no longer Tuji the assassin, and he's no longer dying next to his loved ones. The boy helplessly tries to move out of the bed in a state of panic. His vision is blurry until he takes a look in the mirror, realizing he's someone completely different. At this moment, the once feared, most ruthless assassin of his time is nothing more than a young boy. Kaido Fujiwara is told that he has cleared all of his tests and his rehabilitation cycle has been successful over the course of the past month. The doctor is happy to exclaim that the boy's lost memories will also return when he returns to his usual life, implying that Kaido experienced some kind of amnesia. Though that's just one side of the story, because for Korean John Wick over here, the last thing he remembers is the heartbreaking sight of his beloved girlfriend resting in cold blood, alongside his treasured dog. The man known as Tuji, the deadliest assassin who wanted to exit from the dark life he had led, was betrayed by his one and only friend Hayate. The next thing he knows, he's inside the body of a young boy, except his identity is completely different from the cold-blooded assassin he once was. There's far too much to untangle for him, but for now, the guy has pieced together a bunch of things during his stay at the hospital. Apparently, Kaido Fujiwara, the original owner of his body, was tragically run over and became a victim of Truck-kun on his way to school. The boy suffered a life-threatening brain injury that required immediate surgery, and after falling into a month-long coma, he finally woke up. Except this time, it's not Kaido, but rather Tuji, who was genuinely curious about the process of surgery and how it was carried out. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any clue on what happened shortly after he was killed. The last thing he remembers was a voice claiming that Tuji's brain was perfectly unharmed. Putting two and two together, Bro realizes that he got his ass lobotomized Kenjaku style. Confusion surrounds him regarding the exact details of the aftermath of his death, but a gush of emotions overpower him. The same ruthless assassin sheds one tear after another, grieving the loss of his beloved girlfriend and his happy future to be. In the next scene, Kaido is discharged and goes to his parents. Kyoko, the boy's mother, breaks down in tears like any mother would after seeing her child return home safe. His father, Taro Fujiwara, is interestingly a manga artist who equally celebrates his son's speedy recovery. The boy's mother is worried about Kato's amnesia, while her husband tries to assure her that everything's gonna be okay as soon as he returns to his normal life. Excited, they turn to their son for his input, but unlike their excitement, the only thing Tuji can experience is dread. He understands that his new identity has become tied to Kaido, but if there's someone connected to the incidents involving his life, then that means things will get complicated soon. But for now, he beams a happy smile, assuring his parents he's gonna be alright, because internally, the deadliest assassin has settled to blend in for now. We quickly transition to the part where they arrive home. Kaido out here experiences true shock, realizing that the kid is a trust fund baby because this house is big as hell. Turns out that his dad isn't just your average manga artist, he's successful. Bro probably wrote Solo Leveling or something, and yes, before you all gangbang me in the comments, I know it's a manhwa. Also, his mother emerges from a family of a renowned doctor, so that's something too. Kyoko directs the boy to his room, and upon stumbling inside, Kaido takes a second to absorb his surroundings. The assassin notes the tidiness in this room. Perfectly organized, and honestly, it's not any different from a typical high schooler's living space. Recalling the boy's parents, he remembers how both of them were worried sick and frequented checking up on him in the hospital. This means Kaido is loved and cherished by his family, and it reminds the assassin of his girlfriend's one and only desire, for him to be happy. This is the kind of happiness that the assassin couldn't experience because of his life. If anything, the assassin Tuji doesn't want to lead a life that ends up disappointing Kaido's parents. Strangely, he notices an interesting photo. This time, it's not just the boy's parents, but also another family of 3. From the looks of things, the assassin understands he has to learn everything he possibly can about the boy's background. The following morning, we got a new visitor. This chick pulls up in a long-ass limo just to visit Kaido, disregarding the fact that he was only discharged 1 day ago. It seems that she's stubborn about seeing him because of how far they go back. The boy's father opens the door to find the radiant Yuzuha smiling at him. She's eager to check on her friend's condition, asking what he's doing. Right as the boy's father is about to answer, Kaido peeps in and realizes that Yuzuha is the same girl he saw in the photo. Without wasting another breath, the girl strangles him with a tight hug, offering her concerns for his health. Kyoko is glad to see them bonding together like always. As for our boy, he's keenly observing everyone's reaction and pieces together the information that Yuzuha must be his childhood friend. She's excited and wants to invite him for a ride to school, but Kaido rejects it, realizing that this chick's family background is even wealthier than his own. Taro tries to butt in, but Yuzuha shoves this man right into the car, promising to take care of his state. She turns back to announce a celebratory party for Kaido's successful recovery. Both his parents are left astonished and resume work, while our duo sets off for school. At school, a bunch of thugs that look like they live on the streets are about to execute their plan. Tetsu, their leader, intends to mess with Yuzuha, even though his friends are scared that they'll get in trouble for hurting the daughter of Steve Jobs. Giving them a strong glare, Tetsu reminds his clowns that they're acting like pussies for no reason. He thinks that they've already gone too deep by taking money from a specific someone, which means they really have no choice but to execute this job. That's just the kind of people they're dealing with. As they're discussing their malicious plans, Yuzuha's expensive escort arrives, except this time, they're surprised to see a boy next to her. His goons explains that he's just a normie who happens to be her childhood friend and got into an accident recently. Hearing this, Tetsu is intrigued and creeps up with a smile. In the next scene, both Yuzuha and Kaido part their ways for their own classes. The assassin takes a second to assess her personality, believing that she's a kind friend who looks out for him like an older sister. Entering his new classroom, Kaido experiences a hint of normal life, having never attended a proper school before. The clueless boy asks for his seat, and a classmate is happy to see him. But the same guy's face turns from a smile to the look of fear when he sees the towering Tetsu standing just behind him. The intimidating jerk picks on him, declaring that there's no place for Kaido in this class, and that he's going to be coming with them. Shortly after, the same group takes him outside, while the clueless Kaido is out here questioning if he's got a desk here or something. Recalling the way these guys snickered earlier, Kaido senses that they must be messing with him, especially now that they're eyeing him down. Pissed off, Kaido demands to know where his seat is, while Tetsu and his underlings find the situation entertaining. Walking up to the boy, the delinquent offers the innocent boy a dilemma. If he can beg on his knees, then they'll be happy to let him be with just a few punches. Apparently this guy's gotta stick up his ass because Yuzuha likes Kaido instead of him. Tetsu even threatens the boy that if he ever dares to step a foot in her direction, he's gonna kill both of them. It's funny that he's saying this to basically John Wick out here. Kaido takes a second to understand the situation. Disappointed to learn that these punks truly are his enemies, he's sad, not for himself, but for his new batch of victims who are about to get bodied. The assassin didn't want to hurt anyone in the boy's body, intending to lead a clean life. For a final warning, he calmly tells Tetsu that if he takes back his words, they can settle this peacefully. Of course, this remark gets the blonde showerless punk raging like he's having diarrhea after Taco Bell. Pulsing with ferocity, this man charges ahead with his fist, aiming to kill the boy with a single attack. but my glorious king assesses the trajectory of the attack, considering this guy a pure amateur for attacking with a lousy punch, exposing a million weak spots. The attack is so pitifully slow that Kaido doesn't even have to try and easily destroys Tetsu's confidence with a single punch of his own. Realizing that this situation calls for serious measures, he beautifully palm strikes Tetsu's chin before ragdolling him to the ground with a judo slam. All at the same time realizing that the real world is pathetically peaceful to the hell he's used to. A while passes until Yuzuha comes rushing for his aid, only to realize that this man is aura farming in front of the piercing sunlight. Turns out this man wasn't in danger, he is the danger. Yuzuha is astonished, questioning if the boy standing in front of her is truly the same Kaido she's known all her life. Yuzuha helplessly asks if he's responsible for beating them to the ground. At first our boy is hesitant, and eventually comes up with the excuse that he was dragged into a pointless fight. Apparently Yuzuha heard the news too, which is why she rushed to get to the rooftop to check on him. She wants to believe the reality that an innocent-looking boy like Kaido couldn't have been involved in such a brutal fight, but that's only until he spots a tinge of blood on his collar, thinking that he must have gotten hurt or something. Kaido tries to reason that he's perfectly fine, but Yuzuha is a worried mess and roars at him for making her worry like that. Her worried anger turns to sadness, unable to accept the idea of him getting hurt. The assassin wonders what happened and apologizes anyway. They decide to return to class for now, but as they're leaving, Kaido hears the murmuring of the beaten-up blonde. Bro is mad and plans to take revenge against him. The scene quickly cuts to the late-night party that Yuzuha planned earlier. His parents brought out the champagne and the most salivating food on the table. I mean, who the hell did they hire for all of that? Gordon Ramsay. While the boy's parents are enjoying the moment in a happy laugh, Kaido can't help but once again reminisce the image of his beloved girlfriend, Mirai, who often smiled at him the same and urged him to eat quickly. Hearing her words, this man went from a killing machine to an eating machine. Even their dog wanted to try the food. That same night, Tuji went to his girlfriend, wondering if this is what it felt like to experience a happy moment with one's own family. That same feeling is channeled to his current self, as he finally experiences what a normal life feels like. Anyway, Yuzuha appears to be late to the party, even though it was her idea to begin with. The boy's father exclaims that Yuzuha is going through some rough times recently, even though she never shows it and always puts on a brave face. Suddenly, an unpleasant feeling starts creeping up in the boy's chest, as if his senses were giving him a warning of some kind. Curious, he checks his phone, only to see his childhood friend calling him. He picks up, asking about her condition, only to hear the same punk's voice from earlier. The punk is glad that he quickly caught on, and invites the boy to come to a specific location according to his coordinates, and if Kaido refuses, they're going to make sure Yuzuha pays the consequences for it. By the way, the same chick and her driver are being held hostage, so he's really not kidding around. Yuzuha's voice roars from behind as she pleads with him not to come, but our boy's heard everything he wanted to hear, and realized that they're gonna hurt her if he doesn't act soon. So he asks for directions, and the delinquent gladly offers it. The phone call ends shortly after, and Kaido acts like he was on the phone with another friend instead of her, informing his parents that he's gotta go for a quick errand. Kaido assures them that he'll be back soon. The scene cuts to the dark and abandoned factory, where nearly a dozen armed men are waiting to beat him up. But not just that, the organization's leader has also arrived. While his bodyguard is casually busy working out behind, the man is pissed that Tetsuya bothered to make the call and even slams a can in his face for it. He's trying to keep a low profile, and being called here all of a sudden puts him at great risk for it. Anyway, the scumbag reveals that he's captured Yuzuha in order to execute the organization's order. Apparently they want to interrogate some secret information from her regarding her inheritance, but so far, she hasn't yet cracked, constantly stating that she knows nothing. That's actually the main reason Tetsuya bothered calling her best friend, the same kid who hovers around her all the time, thinking that if they threaten to hurt him, she'll spill the beans. This way, he'll have succeeded in his order, and as his reward, Tetsuya will officially claim his spot in the organization. The organization's leader is fine with that, but warns the blonde of what will happen if he fails his task. You see, Inokami, the muscle freak, isn't one to talk. This man's only orders are to kill, as he demonstrates by chucking a dumbbell so goddamn fast that it tears down a freaking wall. Inokami's mere existence is enough to make the blonde wet his pants, because if he fails, he's gonna be next. Yuzuha roars and makes her position even worse by provoking them, while her assistant tries to calm her down. Unfortunately, that leads to Tetsuya beating his ass, slamming him with his foot, enraged that someone's trying to meddle between the two of them. He tells his underlings to take her assistant aside, and focuses on Yuzuha, assuring her that if she doesn't talk, her childhood friend is going to die. Even then, the helpless girl confirms that she has no idea what he's talking about. Pissed off, Tetsuya orders Kaido to be brought to him at once. Right now, they've got 40 thugs with weapons, and a former wrestling behemoth responsible for killing a man in the ring. With this, there's no way the kid will come out on top. The blonde is damn certain that Kaido won't get past Inokami, and in the end, Yuzuha will end up revealing everything. the perspective shifts to our boy, who finally finds his way to the factory. Outside are a bunch of idiots who are about to become his new victims. Casually walking past them, the boy shows no fear, while one of them quickly recognizes that he's their target. But it's already too late because this man effortlessly dismantles them with a painful strike to the neck, putting them down in an instant. With the 3 men defeated, the rest of the thugs quickly charge ahead, but it's their doomsday as the high schooler mops the floor with them, shoving one of the guys into the bin. With a murderous glare, Kaido warns the thugs not to enter his line of sight if they want to continue living their lives in one piece. And yes, the One Piece is real. Back to Tetsuya, his boss is starting to feel concerned that the kid isn't showing up, even wondering if the boy decided to chicken out. He's a kid after all, but only the blonde scumbag knows that what he fought on the rooftop wasn't a kid, but a demon. He tries to reason with his leader Suo, assuring him that their opponent isn't normal. Speaking of the devil, they hear their men chanting Fujiwara's name just outside the factory. Yuzuha is shocked while the blonde coward is terrified for his life. The door bashes open as a man's body is flung like a paper ball, landing right next to Tetsuya's feet. Excited, the muscle maniac turns to meet his target. Meanwhile, the seemingly harmless boy reminds Tetsuya of his warning from last time. This man is having a hard time holding back his strength just so that he doesn't kill these guys. Mr. Suo is baffled, questioning how one child was able to annihilate 20 thugs all on his own. Casually adjusting his tie for maximum aura, Kaido demands to see his friend. Yuzuha's scream surges throughout the factory, worried that he came for her. Thanks to her voice, he knows that she's exactly 30 meters ahead. He's glad that she's doing okay, and scans his environment for the hostile men ready to attack him. In the span of what appears to be no more than 53 seconds, this man's speed blitzes the hell out of the room, shocking the boss with his godlike ability as he takes down every man around. Even Tetsuya is crawling like a little bitch, realizing that they fudged around and found out the hard way. The fear of death looms over him as our boy grabs Tetsuya before locking a fist, promising to make him suffer quite a bit. In the next few moments, this man throws lightning-fast punches, precisely shattering Tetsuya's clavicles, his lower ribs and elbows. As if that excruciating pain wasn't enough, the dude slams him into the nearest wall with a simple push. Mr. Suo's men are all terrified and absolutely don't want to get smoked by our boy. They want to make a run for it, but he reminds them he's paying them for the job. Suo is starting to realize the true level of danger they're dealing with. Their target isn't a helpless boy, but a monster. Thanks to being blindfolded, Yuzuha hasn't seen a thing. He goes up to her and assures her that everything is going to be alright. Right as our boy is about to untie her ropes, the behemoth shoves his fist to slam him. The attack connects in a heavy blow, while Yuzuha screams in panic. Suo thinks that they might actually have a chance of victory thanks to the former pro wrestler's monstrous physique. But unfortunately for him, when the dust settles, it's revealed that the punch didn't connect at all. In fact, Kaido has even launched a counter kick against his opponent, stopping him in place. The maniacal wrestler doesn't care and prepares another attack, but it's also redirected by Kaido, who goes on to hammer a devastating punch in his face. The punch is so brutal that it shatters his nose, and even then the wrestler thinks that Kaido won't be able to defeat him with such strength. Having exchanged a few blows with this guy, the assassin internalizes that he's dealing with the strongest of the bunch, and because of his current physique of a high schooler, it's hard for him to one-shot this guy like he normally would. So instead he goes for a different measure. Right as the wrestler is about to strike him down, our boy becomes the Flash and teleports out of his sight, setting his target to be Inagami's ribs. From then on, Kaido unleashes a heavy barrage of hits, all concentrating on a singular point, kneeing him and punching him until the musclehead experiences terror and is knocked out. Call him David for slaying the Goliath. Seeing their insane wrestler getting folded like that, the remaining 6 men run the heck away, which is probably the smartest decision they've made. Though normally Kaido would finish his targets off, right now he's got to worry about Yuzuha. He quickly undoes her ropes and puts on a happy face, expressing his satisfaction to see her doing okay. He assures Yuzuha that the situation is under control and that Kawai, her assistant, is also going to be fine. Of course, this kind of traumatizing situation isn't normal for a girl like her, which makes Kaido wonder if she's afraid. But hilariously, she grabs his tie and instead of thanking him, goes ballistic on his ass for taking the worst route imaginable. You see, he could have easily called the police to resolve the situation or consulted adults, but instead bro had to make a movie entrance and solo 40 men all on his own. Still, Yuzuha offers her gratitude that he went so far as to protect her, but it pains her every time he puts himself in danger like that. Her current state is once again reminiscent of Mirai, who always told Tuji to return home, always worrying that she'll lose him someday. Kaido levels with her and promises his friend that from now on, he's never going to make her worry again. Their mellow moment is interrupted by the groans of Kawai, the poor guy who got beat up for no reason. Kaido hears the sound of police sirens and realizes the cops are here, emphasizing that it's time for them to return home. Over to a different side, Suo barely managed to escape, unable to comprehend how not even the musclehead was able to stop the monstrous child. Apparently this guy also has his own boss, who seems to be some kind of kingpin of underground crime. This terrifying boss reveals that he sent a Lancelot to deal with the kid. Now that the boy has messed with the Great Will organization's plans, he's going to pay for it. But before that happens, let's return to our boy's side of things. He's back at home resting on his bed, knowing that he made his parents worry by going on his own like that. While they're sleeping soundly, Kaido remembers how worried his parents were upon his return. Thankfully, the police didn't hold him down for any questioning because of his lack of involvement. As for the thugs, their mission and ultimate goal is still ambiguous in his eyes. Then there's the fact that the man in charge, Suo, also disappeared after the scene. From the looks of things, he thinks that there's something even worse looming in the shadows. As he jogs outside, he internalizes how he doesn't want anyone around him to get hurt anymore. Suddenly, a bunch of projectiles are shot at him, causing him to jump right into the air. The man who shot them is actually baffled that the boy managed to avoid them. By the way, Kaido already knew someone was following him home, which is exactly why he came out here in the first place, giving the spy an easy target. Turning to the guy, Kaido questions his motives. The creepy bastard is impressed that the boy managed to notice him even in his bedroom. It's the first time he's been figured out like that, and with this, it's confirmed that this kid isn't just any normal brat. Giving credit where credit is due, Kaido praises the spy for covering his tracks and being on a completely different level from the thugs he faced at the factory. From those two facts alone, it can be said that this guy doesn't belong to the workings of a normal society, which begs the question of why he was spying on him in the first place. Kaido's stalker is rather impressed, and thinks that the young kid also shares some connections to his line of work. But our boy keeps it simple and maintains his identity of an ordinary high schooler. Refusing to entertain any more small talk, the man prepares his blades for their ultimate showdown. The scene is familiar to our protagonist, who recalls his previous life. The assassin before him officially declares the end of Fujiwara Kaido. This same man is called Sanjo of the Great Will Organization, ranked number 67. Getting into fighting stance, Kaido reflects that he too was once a member of the same organization. Let's visit the headquarters of the Great Will Organization. The council member Akatsuki is frustrated that even after kidnapping Yuzuha, they were unable to obtain any leads. Akatsuki thinks that they should have deployed a lance for the mission from the very start to get things over with. Let's zoom out and focus on the significance of this organization. This group is capable of overthrowing the world into chaos thanks to having 1,000 assassins under its wings. Among them, the top 100 assassins are considered the elites and given the title of Lance. Each Lance is so reliable that they have a near enough 100% success rate for each job. Among other things, Minami and Akatsuki are the same. Minami reveals that they're searching for a specific treasure that will shift the balance of the world. That treasure is called Fenrir's Seed, and Yuzuha is supposedly the current owner of that sacred treasure, though they don't have any evidence to conclude such a thing. Yoshima reveals that he's already sent Sanju for the job. The revelation shocks them, because before using a lance, one requires the permission of Odin. But that's the thing, Yoshima has already acquired such permission. First off, they know that Yuzuha's bodyguard is trash, so there's no way it could have been him. Concluding that there is more to the situation than they understand, he deems their enemies a threat, and therefore wants to eliminate them at the hands of the lances. That brings us to the scene of the fight, where Kaido realizes that he's dealing with someone from the same organization. The stance Sanju is using is perfected and difficult to read, signifying his elite status as a lance. This also confirms our boy's worst suspicions, that everything surrounding Yuzuha's troubles is actually being controlled by the organization in the background. It's not a case of a simple inheritance loot, but something greater. Sanju quickly observes the boy's stance and remarks that he isn't a high schooler at all. The kid is fearless and feels natural when a weapon is pointed at him. Sensing danger, Kaido deems him a threat for Yuzuha and lunges forth to strike him down. The first few punches are casually evaded by the expert assassin, who reflects that the kid is incredibly fast and accurately aiming for his weak points. From this angle, it really seems like Kaido is an assassin of his own class. However, Sanju isn't a joke. This man nearly stabs him in the face, causing our boy to maintain his distance. From their brief encounter, Kaido has learned a bit about his opponent's specialized fighting style. Sanju is a fighter who prioritizes his range to his advantage. The assassin is impressed by the kid's skills and decides to go on the offensive by lunging right into the air. The tables have turned, and though he goes for a butterfly slash at first, the assassin quickly rewires himself into a different stance in an effort to overwhelm our boy. Sanju is genuinely pleased to find his opponent dodging like an expert. Meanwhile, our boy is starting to realize that he's far behind when it comes to strength and speed. There's only one way to defeat an opponent like this guy, and that is to scan his environment. While the elite lance is going heavy on the offensive, he thinks that he's finally achieved an opening to strike, but much to his shock, when nails the final blow, Kaido casually slips out of his jacket before stabbing his neck with a precise swing. Surprisingly, the lance managed to evade it just in time and retaliated with a swing of his own. The slash ends up cutting Kaido, blood drips down, and the realization sets in that he's dealing with a powerful lance. He's realizing his own limitations for having a weaker and untrained physique. While the lance is rather impressed by the boy's attempt to trap him, he talks about how Kaido's perfected movements showcase that he's easily a professional in combat, except the only thing he lacks is pure killing intent. The only order he received was to assassinate a high school student, but now it makes sense to him why a lance was given such a job. Sanju reveals that he's a threat to the organization's intentions with Yuzuha, which is why he must be assassinated at once. Thanks to his own confession, Kaido is now certain that the organization is connected to everything. Deciding to switch his mode of fighting, the assassin decides to activate his combat mode, striking a cool-ass pose. He won't be holding anything back, promising to show the true fragment of his killing intent. Sanju lunges forth with his batshit crazy dragon dance form, which is essentially hundreds of blade strikes hurling at our boy. The lance has become mindless in his pursuit and literally skins down a tree with ease. Meanwhile, Kaido finds himself a safe spot to hide, realizing that he's dealing with someone way beyond the level of a normal assassin. The crazy fucker tornado slices his cover, unleashing a geyser of water. Having suffered another cut on his body, Kaido realizes that he's dealing with an S-class user on top of a lance. His endless slashes are so incredibly difficult to deal with that not even our boy can get out unscathed. Sanju goes ballistic and accuses the high schooler for being a killer too, wondering if it's fine if Yuzuha is killed as collateral. And well, that's where this man fucked up, because that line alone triggers Kaido's traumatic flashback sequence. Except this time, the face of his girlfriend is replaced with the one of his friend. Pissed off, he lunges forth to tackle the assassin head-on, smashing the blade right out of his hand, grabbing it, and then speed blitzing a sharp cut right across his shoulder. It all happened so fast that not even an expert lance is able to perceive what went wrong. All he can think about is what kind of monstrous kid he's dealing with. Our boy refuses to experience the guilt and suffering that he did last time, which is why he promises to protect Yuzuha with his life. The lance thinks it's pointless to resist his fate as he's going to die by the will of God. Bro is a shoulder down and still wants to fight. His endless slashes are useless from now on, because Kaido is expertly matching each attack like a seasoned professional. Accusing the high schooler for being a coward, Sanju leaves himself wide open during one of his attacks. Reminding him of his place, Kaido goes right behind him, painfully slashing his thigh and belittling the pro-assassin for being so loud. Reduced to such a state, Sanju can't help but question how this guy got so fast all of a sudden. Reusing the same tactics like last time, he tries to overwhelm our boy. It ends in disaster for him, because Kaido leaves a bunch of cuts right around his left arm, revealing that there's no point anymore as he's already read all of his moves. In his next attack, Kaido bursts with incredible speeds, becoming a Beyblade and slashing all his way to Sanju's body. Donning his murderous glare, he deems the end of the lance, who is still out here questioning how one could master such swift knife work and such godlike speed. The way he's fighting reminds him of the wrath of Gungnir, the #1 assassin among their ranks. Kaito brutally rips this guy's body until he's left gushing out a pool of blood. The fight is over with Sanju realizing just how outclassed he was right from the beginning. As he's panting heavily, the lance trembles in fear, sensing that he can't even move a muscle anymore because the tendons in his arms have been severed. But our boy is kind enough to leave at least one leg for him to get by. As for the rest, the killing machine assures him that his career as a lance is finished, and that he won't be able to kill anyone anymore. Ruthlessly, Kaito remarks that in this way, the assassin will lose the only part of his identity that he treasures the most. It's a fate worse than death because these people can't even blend in normal society. But before leaving this guy alone, the boy declares his 2 questions, promising to painfully cut his other leg if he refuses to answer. For his first question, he wants to know the name of the man who issued the order, and why specifically they're targeting the girl. Giggling like a fool, Sanju reveals that he's not going to talk even if he tortures him and kills him, as he has sworn loyalty to his one and only God, and that he'll never betray his will. The mention of God confirms everything for Kaito, but unfortunately sirens start buzzing all around. Sanju's recklessness has attracted the cops. In that brief window, the guy manages to use his only leg to escape. He recommends the kid to get out too before he's caught. Before leaving, Sanju wonders if the boy really wants to be an ordinary high school student. That question floods him down memory lane, because Kaito remembers how everyone around him thought he can't experience a normal life, simply because he's lived his life as a cold-blooded assassin. Even now, as he's covered in blood, the thought clings to him. Is he really normal? Can he even be considered a high school student? That question is yet to be answered, but we shift to the headquarters where Yashima learns about Sanju's update. Izumo reports that the lance has been effectively dismantled to the point he can't even continue working anymore. Akatsuki is out here amazed by Kaito's abilities to take down an expert assassin, beaming with excitement. Izumo confirms that whoever it was a monster, because Sanju described the guy's movements to be similar to Gungnir, a name that draws attention among them all. Even Akatsuki thinks it's an overestimation to say that. To compare this guy to the strongest knife user to ever live, Izumo understands their frustration, especially when Gungnir's name isn't tossed around lightly. Minami breaks their confrontation while Akatsuki whines about the significance and specialty of Tuji. Regardless, they think that this random bodyguard of Yuzuha has proven himself to be considerably powerful. Not only did he disrupt their plans, but he also dismantled a lance-level opponent. With this development, Yashima and the others can no longer wait around. The whole thing leaves Yashima questioning the mystery behind Kaito Fujiwara. Speaking of our boy, he goes back to his room and patches himself up in secrecy.